Hello children, hope you are keeping well. I welcome you all to this mode of virtual learning which is going to be somehow the reflection of our physical classroom learning. Today we will be learning about chapter number 5 of class 10 history, that is the age of industrialization. We all have studied much about revolutions that have brought remarkable changes in our lives and has affected and impacted social, cultural, political and economical grounds of all the economies. This particular chapter does not just signify the drastic change brought up by the Industrial Revolution in manufacturing or in production, but also highlights other areas and regions it had impacted. So to begin with, here is a short introduction to actually know what is age of industrialization and which was the first country that got initially influenced by it. The industrial age is a period of history which encompasses the changes in economic and social organization that began around in 1760 in Great Britain and later in other countries, characterized chiefly by the replacement of hand tools with power-driven machines such as power loom and the steam engine, and by the concentration of industry in large establishments. I hope this has briefed you much about the introductory part of the chapter. In this first lecture of Age of Industrialization, we would be learning about before Industrial Revolution and then two subcontents of it, which are coming up of factory and pace of industrial change. Children, there is an image displayed on your screen, and as the image illustrates, it's the dawn of century. In 1900, a popular music publisher, E.T. Paul, produced a music book that had a picture on the cover page announcing the dawn of century. Now you might be wondering, when we are studying about age of industrialization and industries, why there is a book's cover being discussed over here. Don't worry, if you look at the image with more deeper thoughts and you zoom it out, you will be able to get the answer of the same. As you can see from the illustrations, at the center of the picture is goddess-like figure, the angel of progress, bearing up the flag of new century. She is gently perched on a wheel with wings, symbolizing time. Look at the wheel she is standing upon. The wheel has got wings that simply symbolizes time. Her flight is taking her into the future. Floating about behind her are the signs of progress. Now, when we talk about the signs of progress, it includes railways, cameras, machines, printing presses and factories. To add on more glorification to machines and technology, there was another image which marked the glory of this industrialization, and this particular picture which is there on your screen now, this was being picturized and appeared on the pages of trade magazines over hundreds of years ago, that is on 26th of January 1901. It shows two magicians. The one at the top is Aladdin from the Orient, who built a beautiful palace with his magic lamp, wherein the one at the bottom is the modern mechanic, who with his modern tools weaves a new magic, builds bridges, ships, towers and high-rise buildings. Aladdin is shown as representing the East and the past, wherein the mechanic stands for the West and the modernity. These images offer us a triumphant account of the modern world. Within this account, the modern world is associated with rapid technological changes and innovations, machines and factories, railways and steamships. The history of industrialization thus becomes simply a story of development, and the modern age appears as a wonderful time of technological progress. I hope you have enjoyed studying about these two pictures. Now Let us see what actually this industrialization is all about. So we begin with before the Industrial Revolution. Proto-industrialization was a phase when there was a large-scale industrial production in an international market which was not based on factories. Proto-industrial system was part of a network of commercial changes. What actually proto-industrialization is? So the period of industrialization before the first factories came up in Europe is then termed up as proto-industrialization. This period was marked by merchants from towns getting products made in villages. Make it a clear point that we people write down all these notes somewhere with us. This is going to be helpful for you. Proto-industrialization is the period before the first industries came up in Europe, and this period is marked by merchants from towns getting products made in villages. Reasons for focus of merchants on villages included powerful trade and craft guilds. Craft guilds were the associations or the craft clubs in urban areas. These associations controlled competition and prices and prevented entry of a new player in the market. Now, new player is none other than the new merchant who was supposed to be there in the market so as to compete them. Because of them, it was difficult for new merchants to set businesses in the towns. Now, as we have studied about proto-industrialization and its meaning, it's very, very important for us to know what are its features too. Now, features of proto-industrialization in Britain. Merchants supplied money to peasants in countryside. They motivated them to produce products for an international market. Wherein the second feature is talking about land was becoming scarce in villages. As the land was becoming scarce, people, those who were dependent upon farming and agricultural practices, had to search or opt for second source of income. That is, they were searching out for an alternate source of income. So in short, proto-industrial system was a network of commercial exchanges. It was controlled by merchants. Goods were produced by peasants who worked within their family, farm, and not in factories. The finished product passed through several stages and reached the market of London. From London, the products were then supplied to the international market. Let us see this first subtopic of this before industrial revolution, that is the coming up of factories. The earliest factories in England came up in 1730s by the late 18th century. There were numerous factories dotting the landscape of England. In 1760s, Britain was importing around 2.5 million pounds of raw cotton. This quantity increased to 20 million pounds by 1787. See, in 1760, Britain was just importing 2.5 million pounds of raw cotton, which has got a drastic increment in 17 years to 22 million pounds. So the benefits of factories were the factories increased efficiency of workers. Because of new machines, a worker could produce better products in much better quantities. Cotton textiles were the main area in which industrialization happened. Managing and supervising the labor was much easier in factories than it was in the countryside. When it comes in for textile industry, you might get in the revision of the actual story of India, where we all know the raw cotton was getting imported from India to Britain, and people have been studying about it. So in short, coming up of factory highlights in 1730s, the earliest factories in England came up. The first symbol of the new era was cotton. A series of inventions in the 18th century increased the efficacy of each step of the production process. Now, this is something very important for you to know and note. Richard Arkwright created the cotton mill. Cotton and metals were the most dynamic industries in Britain. During the first phase of industrialization, that is up to 1840s, cotton was the leading sector. The iron and steel industries grew rapidly with the expansion of railways. The railways expanded in England from 1840s and in the colonies from 1860s. By 1873, the export of iron and steel from Britain was valued at about 77 million pounds. This was double at the value of cotton export. At the end of the 19th century, less than 20% of workforce was employed in technological advanced industrial sectors. This shows that the traditional industries could not be displaced by the new industries, and we all are actually aware of the fact that machines can't replace humans. Otherwise, in this particular period, YouTubes and all other ideas would have worked as a replacement for the teachers. The cotton and metal industries could not set the change of pace in the traditional industries, but the traditional industries experienced many changes which were brought by small and apparently ordinary innovations. Food processing, building, pottery, glasswork, tanning, furniture, making and production of implements were such industries. The new technology took a long time to spread across the industrial landscape. High cost of machines and costly repairs scared the merchants and industrialists. The new machines were not as effective as claimed by their inventors and manufacturers. Historians acknowledge the fact that the typical worker in the mid-19th century was not a machine operator, but the traditional craftsperson and the laborer. So this briefs us about the fact that though industrial revolution has come into the picture, though machines were introduced, but in the mid-19th century there were workers who were not able to operate machines and have been the traditional craftsperson and the laborers. So let us see how rapid was the process of industrialization. The most dynamic industries in Britain were clearly cotton and metals. The new industries could not easily displace traditional industries. Technological changes occurred slowly. Now the reasons for that are: the new technology was expensive, the machines often broke down and repair was costly, they were not as effective as their inventors and the manufacturers claimed. Now sometimes what happens is we own a gadget, its features are completely not known to us. Unless we get acquainted towards its features, we won't be able to have maximum usage and utilization of the same. The same was happening in that industrial revolution. People have not been made aware exactly about how these machineries have to be used in and how well people can get in equipped with it. That's how it has brought in slow changes with technological areas in the factory site. This was all about the first lecture of the age of industrialization. We'll be studying in detail about the further topics in the coming lectures. Thank you.